Imagine waking up to find that all your private data, credit card information, personal photos, and even your digital identity have been stolen. Shocking, isn't it? But did you know that in 2023 alone, over 1,000 web applications were breached, affecting millions of users worldwide? This isn't just a nightmare scenario, but a chilling reality that underscores the urgency of web application security. Every day, cybercriminals exploit vulnerabilities in web applications, breaching firewalls and stealing sensitive data. The scale of these breaches is mind-boggling. In just 1 year, over 1,000 applications were compromised. That's more than 2 breaches a day, every day, for an entire year. And the victims? Millions of unsuspecting users, just like you and me, whose lives were thrown into disarray. So what can we do about it? Understanding common web vulnerabilities is a great start. First on our list is cross-site scripting, commonly known as XSS. Sounds like a secret agent code, doesn't it? But it's far from that. Imagine you're at home and you receive a letter. The envelope is neatly addressed, and it seems to come from a friend. But what you don't know is that hidden within the words of the letter, there's a virus. As soon as you open the letter, the virus is released into your house. This is how cross-site scripting works. The house represents your browser, the letter is a web page or application, and the virus is a malicious script. In the digital world, an attacker injects a script, a set of commands, into a web page or application. When it's viewed by unsuspecting users, the script gets executed within their browsers. This could do anything from stealing personal data to altering the user interface, creating a realistic but totally fake version of the website you thought you were visiting. XSS attacks are classified into 3 types: stored, reflected, and DOM-based. Stored XSS attacks are when the malicious script is permanently stored on the target server. When a user requests a page from the server, the script is delivered and executed on their browser. Reflected XSS attacks are more like a boomerang. The user sends the script to the server, typically through a link, and it comes right back at them. The server reflects the script back to the user's browser, where it's executed. Finally, we have DOM-based XSS attacks. In these cases, the script manipulates the document object model, or DOM, of a web page. This is the structure of the web page, and by altering it, an attacker can change what the user sees and interacts with. So cross-site scripting is like a Trojan horse. It looks innocent on the surface, but it carries a hidden threat. It tricks your browser into executing scripts that it believes are safe but are anything but. So XSS can be pretty nasty, tricking your browser into executing malicious scripts. But it's not the only threat out there. Next up is cross-site request forgery, or CSRF for short. It's like a puppeteer controlling your actions without you even realizing it. Picture this. You're at a bustling market and a charismatic stranger approaches you. He's a con artist, but you don't know that yet. He's friendly, persuasive, and he's got a contract in his hand. He convinces you to sign it, assuring you it's just a harmless autograph for his niece who's a fan of yours. You, charmed by his persona, sign it without a second thought. But what you've just signed isn't an innocent piece of paper. It's a contract, a malicious request, that gives him access to your assets. This scenario is akin to CSRF in the digital world. It tricks you into executing unwanted actions on a web application in which you're authenticated. The con artist is the attacker who tricks the browser into executing an unwanted action. You, the unsuspecting victim, are logged into a web application. The contract you signed without understanding it is the malicious request. The crux of CSRF is that it abuses the trust a site has in a user's browser. For instance, if you're logged into a banking website and a CSRF attack is launched, it could trick your browser into making a fund transfer to the attacker's account. And the worst part? It's done so seamlessly, you won't even realize you've been conned until it's too late. The most deceptive part about CSRF is its invisibility. It's like a silent puppeteer, making you dance to its tunes without you even realizing it. It's a vulnerability that has been exploited in major sites, leading to significant breaches. Preventing CSRF isn't an easy task, but it's not impossible either. Using anti-CSRF tokens, implementing same-site cookies, and applying the principle of least privilege are some measures that can be taken to mitigate its risk. So you see, CSRF can make you perform actions you never intended to, and you won't even know it happened. But there's one more villain in our story. Last but not least, let's talk about SQL injection, a classic technique that's been around since the early days of the internet. Imagine SQL injection like someone craftily changing the directions on your GPS. You're driving along thinking you're headed to your favorite coffee shop, but the GPS has been tampered with to lead you somewhere entirely different. That's essentially what SQL injection does to your database queries. SQL, or Structured Query Language, is a programming language designed to manage data in a relational database. When you input data into a web application, it often generates an SQL query. This query is like the directions your GPS uses to find the right data in the database. But what if those directions could be changed? Just like the mischievous person changing your GPS directions, a hacker can manipulate the SQL query. They do this by injecting malicious code into the input fields of a web application. This could be as simple as a login form. The application then unknowingly runs this malicious code as part of its SQL query. The results can be disastrous. The hacker might trick the database into revealing sensitive information like passwords or credit card numbers. They could even alter or delete data, causing significant damage to the database. SQL injection is a potent weapon in a hacker's arsenal. It's been used in some of the biggest data breaches in history, affecting millions of people. But it's also one of the most preventable vulnerabilities. By properly validating and sanitizing user input, as well as using prepared statements or parameterized queries, you can significantly reduce the risk of SQL injection. So, just as you wouldn't blindly follow a GPS that's been tampered with, don't let your applications blindly run SQL queries that have been manipulated by hackers. SQL injection can manipulate your database queries and lead to serious data breaches. Now that we know our enemies, it's time to learn how to defend against them. One of the best ways to safeguard your web applications is through penetration testing, essentially a simulation of these attacks to identify vulnerabilities. Now you may ask, what exactly is penetration testing? In simple terms, it is a proactive and authorized attempt to evaluate the security of an IT infrastructure by safely attempting to exploit system vulnerabilities, including OS, service and application flaws, improper configurations, and even risky end-user behavior. Its importance cannot be overstated. In the vast landscape of cyberspace, threats lurk around every corner. By simulating these threats, penetration testing allows us to identify and seal off these vulnerabilities before they can be exploited. It's like a fire drill for your web application, a rehearsal for a potential attack, except the consequences of failure are far more severe than a few singed eyebrows. So, don't wait for the fire. Be proactive. With penetration testing, you can stay one step ahead of the bad guys. But you're not alone in this fight. There are numerous tools available to help you test your web application's security. Tools like OWASP Zap, a free open-source web app security scanner. It's designed to automatically find security vulnerabilities in your web applications while you are developing and testing them. Then there's Burp Suite, a reliable and popular tool among web security testers, which provides features for web application mapping and manipulation. And let's not forget Nessus, one of the most widely deployed security technologies worldwide that identifies vulnerabilities, configuration issues, and malware in web applications. These tools, among others, can significantly aid you in identifying and mitigating web vulnerabilities. However, remember that tools are just aids. They are not substitutes for a deep understanding of the vulnerabilities themselves. Knowledge, paired with the right tools, is what truly empowers you to secure your web applications. Choosing the right tool can make your fight against web vulnerabilities much easier.